All right, I think this is the last video I have to make today. If not, one will hit me later and I'll be like, oh, I gotta make that video. I do apologize for the background noise. The temperature of my room is molten lava today. I think they did something with the heat and it's pretty toasty in here. If you've been in my classroom before, you know I have picture walls and the pictures have started falling off the walls, so that's when I know it's hot. But I wanted to address, I had the question, I've read through some of the answers so far as you responding, excuse me, you responding to, what you're looking for in this class. I did that new this term because I have a lot of classes that aren't math related. Now I teach PE, film, music. I think I've had a health class, and so lots of different classes that I teach that, students kind of wonder, what are we going towards, what are we learning? And usually my math classes, students know, hey, I'm learning algebra or geometry, and they kind of know what it's going to entail. Either they've had it before or they dropped right in the middle of it. But applied math is a math that a lot of students have questions about. What are we going to be learning? And so I'm glad you asked. So that's where I want to address this a little bit and kind of talk about where we're heading and some of the things we're going to be doing. Now, I think all math can be applicable because I'm a math teacher, and so I like to use math in everyday things, but I understand there's some math that students are like, look, I got to learn this, but I probably never use it. And so, I use algebra as an example. I doubt students sit down and use X and Y, and but you can. I mean, that's why I always try to say you can apply these, but it's not as used as much every day as far as in everyday walks of life, in every situation to throw in an algebra problem or a graph or something like that. So I feel like with this class, a lot of things I really try to at first focus in on the things that you probably see every day and that you could use in your life every day. And so we're talking about percents, decimals, fractions, and really with fractions, don't freak out on me because I know I have a lot of students that hate fractions. But you think about baking or just measurements and those basic parts of it and how you can apply those things in everyday life and use those. Now I do touch, someone put about probabilities and data analysis. Those are things, we do get into some probability things. We get into statistics. We get into some charts and graphs and things that you could use in everyday life. And so those are some of the areas that we're going to be looking at. Another thing we do is some of the basic geometry. Now I know you say, well, in that geometry class, well, more of the geometry that you would use in like building things and everyday aspects. I know one time I had to build kind of a dog kennel. My dog at that time, she was like the Houdini dog. She could break out in anything. And so we had to build this huge pen and do this thing, and I had to put squares on the ground and had to do geometry basically to plan out and not spend a crazy amount of money to build this dog pen. So those are things that hopefully the knowledge will help you in that aspect. So this class really kind of focuses in on the everyday math, and that's where we pretty much start is talking about decimals and money and financial side. And there's even things we've talked before, financial foundations. If you have that class, there's some things that mix, meaning you have it in both classes, but that's a good thing because you can either use this class to help you in there or vice versa, and it strengthens that core of learning about those things. And so some of the first financial things we'll be doing is with that, learning about taxes as far as sales tax and how to figure out those percentages and know, I do a little game in my head when I go to the store. I always try to get really close as I'm picking up items when I get to the register, and that way I kind of know what I'm paying and what I'm spending, and it's just something I do. And I try to, me being a math teacher, I kind of get excited when I'm like right on the money. In fact, one time, just a funny story to let you know how math oriented I am is I was teaching at a high school. I was the math teacher there, and I did not know they gave us a gift card for Christmas once, and I thought it was to a bookstore that was not in business anymore. It was really odd to me. I'm like, well, why did I get a gift card to? Well, I had read I'd read the title wrong. It was a local grocery store that I'd never heard of. I wasn't from that town, so I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know, they had named that, or it was close to that name. So when I found out what it was, I said, well, I'll go get some groceries, but I didn't really want to spend any more than the gift card. So I was going through picking out things, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to try to get exactly to the, amount. And I think it was $25. So I'm going through and I'm picking out things. Anyway, I was like, I think I'm really close. And with tax, and with the cost. And I'm doing, and I always try to do it in my head, not calculator, because to me at that point I was like, well, that's kind of cheating, even though it was a game I made up myself, so I don't know how you can cheat yourself. So I went up to the register, and in the meantime, the English teacher was there that day, and he was behind me, and I remember thinking, well, this is really funny, and so she rang it up. It came to $24.90. I was 10 cents and I was like, I said something about it being a 25, and I made the joke to the English, so he got a kick out of it because he thought that was really funny that I was doing that in my head. So, that's where those things, to me though, that could be beneficial. If you have a budget, if you have, if you're trying to figure out, well, what can I purchase and what can I expect to spend on things, to me it helps you as a consumer. So that's something we're definitely going to be focusing on, is doing those things. Unit price is another thing. I use the example, you go into a Walmart usually, or a grocery store, they'll have the price of something like $2.98, but then they'll have a unit price by it, and it's like 19.4 cents per ounce or something. Well, that's telling you how much you're paying per ounce, so really it can help you compare. Should I buy the family size box, or should I buy the smaller box? Am I getting a better deal? So those are the things that we'll be talking about, and we'll learn how to do the math part of it so that we can make those decisions, so we can apply the math to our situation. Probability works in that way. What's my chances of this happening? Should I make a decision based on it? Graphs and charts will help with that. In business, comparing things, you want to know what the chart says, how to get into the data of it. Of course, the geometry part of building things, learning the math to help you be able to apply that to that situation. So those are the things we're going to be looking at, and so hopefully that answers some questions going in. This will be, most of your assignments will be problems that you'll be doing. You can either type them, some of them, if they don't have a lot of symbols, that you can do that. If it is something with a lot of symbols you don't want to type, you can write out your problems, write out the answers and problems on a paper and take a photo and upload your photo that way. So a lot of our work will be based on that. Our tests will be like that. So, if you have any questions, you can go to the People tab on the Google Classroom, and my name's there as a teacher. You can write me and email me, and hopefully we have a good term, and we'll get started from here. Thanks, guys.